So what is it like to work inside a gym? Today we're going to give you some tips and details on how to do so from an experienced acupuncturist. Coming up.
Get comfortable being uncomfortable. And it changed my life.
The only problem is space.
It's like stepping into a business that's already established.
I think we're united, we're definitely stronger. Hi guys, Hisham Emmer here from AcuAdvisor, and today we have an amazing acupuncturist from Castle Rock, Colorado, and she's actually an acupuncturist that works at CrossFit, and I'm sure a lot of you are always wondering how to run a practice from within a gym. And go ahead and introduce yourself, Kirsten.
Hi, my name is Kirsten Olson Peckham. I am a certified acupuncturist. I've been practicing for about 8 years now. I graduated in 2011 from Northwestern Health Sciences University, or the Minnesota College of Acupuncture and Oriental Medicine. I am licensed to practice in both Wyoming and Colorado. I currently practice out of a CrossFit gym. My first 7 years of practice were in a gym facility in Casper, Wyoming. I've recently relocated to Castle Rock, and because of my love of treating athletes and being a CrossFit athlete myself, I was just drawn to that space and that location, that's
beautiful out there, right?
It's awesome. The mountains are great.
It is.
I would say the Rockies here in Denver are pretty amazing, for sure.
Beautiful. Okay, so tell us, what are the pros and cons of working from within a gym?
So the pros are absolutely you have access to a large population, anywhere, however big the gym is. Currently probably about 300 people who are very interested in spending money on health and wellness and being fit and feeling good in their bodies, being able to recover quickly, things like that. And so it's a population that's interested in what we do. It's not a hard sell. A lot of people, especially in Colorado, are familiar with acupuncture. They're familiar with the effectiveness of the treatments. So again, not a hard sell. And it's just a great environment to be immersed in, to be a part of, because it's high energy. People are very inviting and open. It's like stepping into a business that's already established, and so the marketing has been really great that way too. They've kind of taken me under their wing, moving to a new place that's been great in terms of overhead, not having to spend a lot of money but getting a lot of exposure.
Absolutely.
Some really amazing pros, and then I guess negatives. Really the only thing that I can think of is not having a storefront. The public may not, the general public in your community may not have an awareness that you're available to treat them as well. It might seem like you're more isolated just to that gym community. That said, when I was in Casper and once my practice was established, I had many people coming in from the community. So, yes.
Okay.
Can't
Makes
think of
sense. Absolutely makes sense. What are the most common conditions you always see at CrossFit? And I know it's a very intense workout because I used to do it myself.
Yeah.
In fact, I'm going to tell you guys a quick story. I used to work for a chiropractor who did CrossFit intensely in Minnesota. And that's how I started working or going to that gym. And he injured his rotator cuff, and he had to like stop working for 2 months. So I definitely know it's a very intense workout, right?
Yes. It was shoulder injuries and I would say probably sciatica are the two most common issues that I see CrossFit people coming in with. Athletes actually generally, I treat young gymnasts and hockey players and other athletes. It's not just limited to CrossFit, but certainly CrossFitters do use their bodies in a way that most of us normally don't. The intensity of the workouts is pretty high. The output is high. It's a functional varied fitness. So lots of movements. Even within one workout, you'll be using lots of different muscles. Rotator cuff injuries, not necessarily. It's more probably bicipital impingement. And like posterior issues with the scapula and the deeper intrinsic muscles of the scapula that are causing that pain. And so I do a very probably biodynamic type of treatment for those types of issues, focusing posterior and anterior, using a lot of electroacupuncture with pretty great, effectiveness and response in the patient. Sciatica, of course, like deadlifts, squats, these athletes maybe pushing more than they should or whatever, and finding great effectiveness with acupuncture for, that type of issue.
Do you typically, do you typically do like TCM approach, or do you have like your own approach for sports acupuncture? How do you typically do it?
Initially, probably the first 4 or 5 years of practice, it was pretty strict TCM, and I saw pretty good results. Like people were happy with my care, and but it wasn't until I went to a Whitfield Reeves seminar on my alma mater, continuing education weekend, and he incorporates both TCM but also muscle testing and a lot of STIM and a more probably functional and maybe Western medical approach.
What was the last name for that seminar?
Whitfield Reeves, R-E-E-V-S. Yeah, he's got a really great book out there too. That.
All right, guys. So definitely keep that in mind. I think it seems like that seminar I've heard several times that it's actually a great seminar.
Yeah, well, and I know several other practitioners who are, working with like professional sports teams. If a person wants to go that route as well, they've done a lot of study with him, or they've done his apprenticeship program. Matt Callison is another practitioner who has like amazing content and resources, books, charts, etc., that are available. And you can spend a little money and get some education, or you can fall in and spend a lot of money and, weekends in California and stuff.
Sure. Which is always good.
Yeah.
So tell us, what are the most difficult cases that you typically see?
Most difficult. I would say the most difficult cases, it's not even a condition necessarily, it's more the mentality of the patient.
Right.
When they come in and they, the first thing they say is, I don't think this is going to work, or I've done this several other times and it hasn't been effective. And, they aren't in, or I have patients whose parents have like brought them in, or, like those are the difficult cases. Actually, almost always there's a great recovery, and patients who come in and are like, yeah, I'm all about this. Let's do this,
Very cool. All right. What are the 3 pieces of advice you would give new acupuncturists and maybe experienced acupuncturists out there?
So I guess a piece of advice or two for a new acupuncturist, a student coming out of school, new grad. Find a mentor, find somebody who can support you both in your business and as a practitioner, and talk to those people often, like have an active conversation going about how you can continually improve and develop and sort of own in on the direction that you want to take your practice, because then there won't be a lot of wasted time. I mean,
Sure.
you'll
You don't want to repeat someone else's mistakes, right?
right. And really it's all pretty straightforward for the most
Yeah.
part. And, as well as knowing that like this, health and healing and this medicine, I mean, all forms of medicine, it's a continual learning process and a continual learning curve. And the more you know, the more you realize you don't know. So like, always be open, always be interested in learning more, like follow your curiosities, and find those pockets of people and continuing education that kind of feed the direction you want to take your practice. And I guess for the more, for the practitioners that have been practicing for 20 plus years, also, I guess, be open to mentoring, be open to sharing your knowledge, and helping our profession as a whole group continue to evolve with the current marketplace, and so that we continue to be able to practice acupuncture for 30 plus for as long as we can as a profession, because there are a lot of other practitioners in Western medicine now who are interested in the use of filiform needles and creating a response in the body that maybe is not inherent to traditional Chinese medicine, or that same element of care. So so I guess that would be my advice. We all just have to work together to educate the public and to be the best that we can be as a profession.
Absolutely. So how did you get into sports acupuncture? I know you were always in school at Northwestern, you were always working out, you were an athlete, but how did you really made the decision to truly focus on it after graduating?
It's interesting, right? Because for a while there, I was like, no, I don't want to work with athletes. I don't want to treat pain. I'm going to do women's health. That's what my interest is in. And it still is. Like, I still am very interested in women's health issues and things like that. But I don't know. I kind of thought like that was, because I played collegiate level hockey in Minnesota, and I had thought about like athletic training or something like that. And then I decided, no, I'll be a teacher. So I continued to coach hockey. And then I didn't make that choice. Instead, I ended up in chiropractic school, where I, in my first trimester, had acupuncture in the student clinic at our school for the first time ever in my life. And it changed my life. And so then I changed into that program. And anyways, I got out of school. I was in a gym. I love being movement and activities, and being an athlete myself. And I'm just like, oh my God, like, why am I not focusing on this? Like, I love it, and to keep this profession thriving, we've got to work at it. And especially in this country. And we need to figure out how to come together as professionals to create longevity for the medicine. And
I think we're united, we're definitely stronger. And that's why part of the reason why I decided to make that channel is to actually, there's so many acupuncturists out there that are about to graduate, and
Yeah.
they don't know what it's like to do sports acupuncture or to work out of a gym. I actually, a lot of people don't know this, but I've worked out of a gym myself
Yeah.
for about a year and a half when I graduated. So I definitely agree with a lot of things that Kirsten said. But yeah, you're absolutely right on.
That is so, I just remembered. Yeah.
Yeah,
The schools, the education needs to sort of embrace this new evolution of the medicine too, though, on some level. Like, I don't think I ever heard the word dry needling in school. And
right.
it wasn't until I was like out in the community practicing in Wyoming, and I'm like, what is that?
Yeah, I didn't hear it myself. And we, believe it or not, both of us went to like the biggest school in the Midwest.
Right.
And just really quick, Northwestern, when I was telling Kirsten that earlier, like when I went to Northwestern, I really felt like I was wasting my time because there was no jobs. I've been watching for jobs, there was barely any. But apparently I was wrong. There's definitely a market for acupuncture out there. And as long as you know what you're doing, and as Kirsten said, find a mentor. You don't have to do the mistakes that we've done. And I definitely done a lot of mistakes. The last, maybe the first few years when I started, I've done every mistake under the sun. So, anything else, Kirsten?
Yeah, and yeah, I think there's so much. I mean, there's so many things that we could talk about or whatever.
Yeah.
I think, in terms of working on athletes, you're probably not going to get the knowledge that you need in school. You're going to have to look for it elsewhere from the, the known professionals in our field.
Yeah.
And kind of immerse yourself in that and learn the skill. And then it takes clinical experience to understand what works best for you and like the results that you're going to get with your patients. It just takes some time to understand exactly what that looks like. Yeah. And I think we wish there was like protocols and just like these protocol treatment plans that we could just done. This is what I do, and it's effective for everybody. But it's not how the medicine works. It's not how humans are. We're all individuals. And so, anyway, so I'm new to the Castle Rock area, and I'm practicing out of CrossFit Loop, located on South Wilcox Street, and I'm open to everyone, though, not only the members there at CrossFit.
I know you're very good at women's health also, right?
I am very good at women's health, yes. I've been shadowing with a doc who's got 20 plus years with fertility treatments. I've had a lot of success that way myself in Wyoming. And I often have a really great rapport with most of my patients as well. People are very comfortable and, feel at ease often when they're under my care. Athletes, most often you'll notice a really great response within 2 to 3 sessions. Significant. That's almost what I see nearly all the time. Sometimes it's a few more. Maybe you might have that one treatment where it's just like boom and it's good. But often it's a little more than that. And no, I'm just super passionate about what I do. I care about what I do a lot, and I have high expectations for myself and my treatments. And so, therefore you can know that you're going to be in really great care. So maybe they do.
Did you do CrossFit when you were at Northwestern?
No, I didn't start doing CrossFit until like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a whole different world being at CrossFit, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and I think probably for people, like for an acupuncturist to really be able to acclimate to that type of athlete,
Yeah.
And often it is like athletes that I've been working with, they're just like, they want to hear other language, you know.
Absolutely.
About the circulation and then the chemicals and the, you know, all that
Yeah.
stuff.
And for me, like, I basically, I talk about both.
Yeah.
And I let them choose whatever they want.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Because if you stick to one or the other, most people, like a lot of people, obviously go towards your route.
Right.
You want to know the rational way that this medicine works, right?
Yeah. How it's
But then you get maybe like 20% that wants to hear, the 5,000-year-old philosophy of acupuncture.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to say there's an ancient way of explaining this, and then there is a newer way of explaining that, and then you talk about both.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good approach.
Yeah.
Do you do like, how many athletes do you treat? Do you treat athletes often, or is it more?
I treat everything, honestly.
Yeah.
But see, athletes is definitely something that is good to be in, because naturally an athletic person always gets injuries. So there are more odds they need you than other people. It depends. It depends on how you market yourself,
Right. Patient education too is key, because often what happens is I'll start with a patient and they'll go through, you know, like 4 or 6 weeks of weekly treatment, and their knee pain will be completely alleviated, but then they'll be like, oh, well, I have this and this and this, you know, and I'm talking to them about these things as they're going through treatments. And so, yeah, like either they'll continue with care, or I'll get a call in like 2 months saying, hey, like, I'm not sleeping well right now. Can you help me? Yeah.
Well, so what are you right now? Is this your clinic behind you? It looks beautiful behind you.
No, this is my office, my home office.
Oh.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Thank you. That's kind of what my office and my time. Like, what did that look like?
See, I know what you're going through.
Yeah.
The number one thing that I liked is what you said, is like the patients are there, right? The only problem is space.
Right. Yeah, you probably had a single treatment room and like.
Right. So you can't really. So then now you're tied up with marketing, because you can't do marketing, spend money on marketing when you don't have the space.
Right.
So it's like you're locked. You can't really grow. Make sense?
Yeah.
I didn't.
That's the experience in Casper, you know.
Yeah. So you kind of, when you're working in a gym, that's the only experience that I met. Maybe in your case, you can rent all of the space.
Yeah.
But see, once you do that, you have to spend money on marketing.
Yeah.
So that was my lock. That's why I left Lifetime.
Okay.
But it was a good experience, because I met Tiger Woods. I met like wealthy Minnetonka people up there. I was in the head, like, I think the CEO of Lifetime, he lived like a few minutes from that club. Okay. Have you ever been there?
I don't think I've been to the one. I mean, I was a member at Lifetime, but not that one. Probably.
Yeah, it's in Minnetonka. It's like, you know how they come in levels. There's diamond or onyx, diamond, gold. There's just different levels. And this one was like, you pay like $200 a month membership. And they had the spa downstairs. So patients came actually from the spa.
Okay.
Yeah.
Were you an employee of Lifetime, or did you?
No, I was definitely an employee. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's another place you can look into. But I suggest, if you ever go back, you gotta like.
No, they probably take like 60% or something crazy.
Say again?
I'm sure that like what you make is not worth it. Because I'm guessing a place like that, they might pay.
See, for me, for me, when I like graduated, I didn't really care much about the money.
Oh no, it's about it getting experience for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I just took whatever job I can get, and because, as you know, there's loans.
Not be intimidated by the debt either, and just like have a plan to attack it right away.
Yeah. Yeah. I myself, I tried to like take the least amount of loans I can get,
Yeah.
because I knew like once I'm done, I have to pay it off. You know,
Yeah.
some people out there, they're paying a mortgage.
Yeah.
They don't even own a house.
I'm one of those. I mean,
Yeah.
I own a house, but
Yeah. You're lucky. But, you know, a lot of people out there, they pay like 1,500 a month for the next 30 years,
yeah.
you know? So
Yeah.
it's just a tricky thing. You need really mentors, like you said. And if there's no one out there to tell you that,
Do you feel like we had that? I don't think we did. Do you think? Because I know, like my best friend Lona, she's a chiropractor. She owns a couple offices in Wisconsin.
Lona Cook,
Yeah,
yeah, she's
yeah, she's
cool.
my best friend.
Yeah. In fact, she wrote a practice management book.
Yeah, yep. And I did New Year's with her. Like New Year's, I woke up at 6 a.m. and did like a Zoom call with her and a few
Yeah.
other people, whatever. But like she's a good example of what I feel like acupuncturists are lacking. Like they're lacking sort of someone to come in and say like, this is how you get it done. This is how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
Here's the plan. Let me help you, and because she paid off like 150,000 in less than 2 years, I think. Yeah.
I don't know how she did this. This is crazy.
Well, yeah.
She must have saved every penny.
She's a very smart woman. No, I mean,
Yeah.
she worked through school and like didn't take out the max loans and, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, she's definitely amazing.
Yeah.
What is your biggest advice to people who are starting an acupuncture business?
Get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Awesome. Well, I really appreciate having you on AcuAdvisor. And maybe we could talk about more interesting things in the future.
Yeah, I would like that.
Absolutely. And I definitely enjoyed talking to you.
Okay. Thank you, Hisham.